Okay, start reading, Zara. Can you hear me?
Yeah. Welcome back to Next Paradigm by Odin Labs, the show where we decode the science of functional medicine, biohacking, and longevity for regular people who want extraordinary health.
I'm Alex, your guide into the systems biology side of health. And today we are going straight to the center of your body's defense system. Because if I told you there was a molecule in your body more powerful than any possible supplement, kind of capable of detoxifying heavy metals, neutralizing inflammation, protecting your brain, and even slowing down aging, and yet odds are you are deficient in it right now.
And if you've been dealing with fatigue, brain fog, chronic pain, or immune issues, this could be the missing piece in your protocol. Today, we're talking all things glutathione, the master antioxidant.
We'll break down what glutathione is and why it matters, its role in chronic inflammation and disease, why most glutathione supplements don't actually work, the new delivery tech that does work, and most importantly, how to restore your body's natural glutathione production and defense systems in the long term.
Whether you're a health nerd or totally new to this, you're going to walk away with real strategies that work. Let's get into it.
Okay, so let's start with the basics. Glutathione is a substance that your body makes. It's built from three amino acids: cysteine, glycine, and glutamine. Sounds technical, but all you need to know is that this stuff is everywhere in your body. It's made in your liver, and it's active in pretty much every cell.
Okay, so this isn't something you get from food, your body actually makes it.
Exactly. But just because your body makes it doesn't mean you got enough of it, right? So things like stress, alcohol, toxins, poor sleep, some meds, even something as common as Tylenol, they all drain your glutathione. And when you run low, that's when inflammation, fatigue, and things like brain fog basically creep in.
All right, so what does it do that's so important?
Okay, glutathione is your body's cleanup crew. So it basically neutralizes something that's called free radicals. Basically, little sparks that cause damage inside your cells. If you imagine your body as a house, right? Free radicals are like sparks flying out of the fireplace. And glutathione is the person with the fire extinguisher if something happens, right? It keeps those sparks from burning the place down, essentially.
And this is why people call it the master antioxidant.
Yeah, you got it. Glutathione also recharges other antioxidants, right? So if your vitamin C or vitamin E gets used up, fighting stress or toxins, glutathione steps in and brings them back online. It keeps the whole antioxidant system working like it should be.
Okay, so it fights damage and hides other stuff fight damage too.
Right. And it doesn't stop there. Glutathione is also it's critical for detox, especially in your liver. It helps tag toxic stuff like pesticides, heavy metals, mold, so your body can get rid of it. Without enough glutathione, your liver can't keep up and junk starts piling up in your system.
That's probably why people with toxin overload, mold, chemical sensitivity, that kind of thing feel so awful all the time.
Yeah, exactly. It's like your internal garbage disposal is damaged and jammed, and everything kind of backs up. Plus, glutathione helps control your immune system, not just kind of boosting it. That's kind of oversimplification. It helps your immune system stay balanced, right? So it kind of calms it down when it's overacting, ramps it up when it's underperforming.
So it's kind of like cruise control for your immune system.
Yeah, that's a good way of saying it. Yeah. And the last thing, glutathione kind of protects your mitochondria, right? It's those like little energy factories inside your cells. They crank out energy all day, but they also produce waste, right? So kind of like, smoke from a chimney. Glutathione keeps that waste in check so that your energy stays up and your cells don't get damaged.
So if someone's constantly tired, burned out, foggy, glutathione might be behind it?
Yeah, exactly. Specifically, low glutathione is behind a ton of modern symptoms. Things like chronic fatigue, autoimmunity, brain fog, skin issues, even hormonal problems, right? It's not just some kind of niche antioxidant, it's core infrastructure of antioxidant system. Your body depends on it basically every single day.
All right, that's clear. So, what happens when your glutathione runs low and how that drives chronic inflammation, disease, and aging?
Okay, so let's now deconstruct how glutathione kind of ties directly into the inflammation, because this is where things start to click for a lot of people. Kind of most of us walk around with chronic low grade inflammation, and we really don't realize it. You might feel tired all the time, maybe your joints ache, your brain feels foggy, your skin might be acting up. That's inflammation in a background, essentially, quietly making everything worse.
And glutathione is one of the body's main tools for dealing with that inflammation.
Yeah, here's how it works, kind of in simplified terms. So, inflammation creates oxidative stress, right? Which is just a fancy way of saying, your cells get damaged by too much activity. When your immune system gets activated by injury, infection, stress, whatever it might be, it creates byproducts, right? I think of them again like smoke after a fire, right? Like a oil in a chimney. Glutathione is what cleans it all up, right? It just kind of captures that smoke.
So, no glutathione, and you're basically marinating in the afterburn.
Yeah, exactly. Without enough glutathione, your body can't clean up the oxidative mess. And what happens? Inflammation sticks around. You end up with high levels of inflammatory chemicals in your system. Things like TNF alpha or IL-6 or IL-1 beta, which are kind of like megaphones telling your immune system to stay in attack mode.
And that's where stuff goes sideways, like autoimmune conditions, right?
Bingo. Yeah, exactly. When these inflammatory signals stay turned on for too long, your immune system basically starts misfiring, right? And, like what is autoimmune? It's just your body attacking itself. So it goes from being a bodyguard to being a drunk security guard attacking your own tissues, joints, thyroid, skin, even your brain, right? And, like things like allergies can get exacerbated as a result of that, right? Like autoimmunity in general, right? Glutathione helps bring that system back to baseline. It lowers those inflammatory signals and it kind of helps calm down immune overactivation.
And this is where you hear about cytokine storms in severe infections.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. In cases like, COVID or Lyme disease flare ups, you get cytokine storm where your body floods itself with inflammatory messengers, right? So, like, it just goes crazy. And glutathione is one of the few tools your body has to kind of calm that all down, right? When it's low, you're wide open to runaway inflammation, right? So that's where you get that crazy flare up.
Okay, so it's not just a detox molecule, it's an inflammation manager.
You got it. Yes, exactly. And there's another piece to this puzzle, something that's called F kappa B. It's basically a master switch in your cells that controls inflammation, right? So if an F kappa B is turned on constantly, you're in chronic fire mode, right? And glutathione helps regulate that switch. It basically keeps it from overreacting.
So without enough glutathione, that switch gets jammed in the on position.
Yeah. And that leads to all the symptoms we kind of associate with chronic inflammation, right? So things like joint pain, like arthritic type pain, brain fog, gut issues, fatigue, hormone imbalance, mood swings, even cardiovascular problems.
Wait, how does that tie in to the heart?
Great question. So this is what we call kind of silent inflammation, right? You might not feel it directly. There is no pain, no redness, but it's happening deep inside your blood vessels. Low glutathione has been linked to damage to endothelium, right? So it's that lining of your arteries, right? Which makes it easier for plaque to build up. And that's one reason oxidative stress and inflammation are at the core of heart disease.
So it's not just about feeling better, it's about long term risk too.
100%. If you care about aging well, avoiding disease and keeping your brain and body kind of sharp, right? Aging inflammation has to be part of your game plan. It's not an option. And glutathione is one of your body's best tools to do that. But only if you got enough of it, right? And here's a kicker, most people don't and they don't even realize it.
All right. So, coming up, we're going to break down why glutathione levels are so low in so many people and why most supplements that claim to raise it don't actually do the job.
So you're probably thinking by now, all right, I get it. Glutathione is important. Let me just go grab a bottle and fix it because they sell it as supplements, right? And here's kind of what gets frustrating because most glutathione supplements are actually a waste of money.
Really? Even the ones at Elfin stores?
Well, specifically those, actually. Let's break it down. Okay, so first up, oral glutathione, right? So these are standard capsules you see on the shelves, and the problem is they almost never work. And why? Well, because your gut breaks them down before they even get to your cells, right? They don't get past your gut.
So, your stomach just destroys it?
Pretty much, yeah. Your digestive enzymes don't see glutathione, they just see a protein to break apart, right? And by the time it reaches your bloodstream, you're not getting a whole lot of functional glutathione. You're getting kind of bits and pieces. It's like trying to mail a glass vase and having it arrive as dust. It's not very effective.
Okay. So, what about liposomal glutathione, the kind you see in the liquid form?
Okay, so liposomal is definitely better, right? Because it's kind of protected by a fat bubble. It's kind of wrapped in a fat bubble called liposome. That helps it sneak past your gut and get it into your bloodstream. So the idea itself is pretty solid. The problem is stability, okay? So a lot of liposomal products oxidized before you even open the bottle, especially if they're not kept cold or they've been sitting on a shelf for a month, right?
So, you might be drinking rancid antioxidant soup and not even know it?
Well, kind of, yes. Like it's not as dramatic, but yeah. And let's be honest, most of them taste pretty bad, right? Like the taste of it is not amazing. That's not a science problem. It's more of a compliance problem. If it tastes like battery acids, nobody is going to stick with it.
True. Okay. Then, what about the gold standard IV glutathione?
Yes, IV. So people think that just because it comes in an IV, it must be amazing. This is where people go a lot of times when they're dealing with chronic illness or they're doing some sort of a hardcore detox protocol, right? IVs definitely work, right? So, but only in specific situations. Like let's break it down a little bit. So it spikes your levels of glutathione pretty quickly. And but the problem is that it's cleared from your system within minutes. And because it's quite expensive and time consuming because you have to sit there for like probably an hour, right? It's not exactly accessible to most people. So you have to do it quite often. And if then, even then the glutathione you're putting into your veins doesn't always get inside your cells, which is kind of where you need it the most.
So, you're saying just because it's in your blood doesn't mean it's doing anything?
Exactly, because absorption is not the same thing as utilization, right? You can flood your body with glutathione, but if it's not crossing that cell membrane, it's not getting inside the cells, right? You're just kind of peeing it out at the end of the day.
So, what's the bottleneck?
Well, it's called cellular transport. Your cells have specific gateways, like little transporters. They decide what gets in and what doesn't, right? If those aren't working well due to inflammation, poor nutrient status, genetics, then even the best glutathione protocol can fall flat.
So, how do we fix that?
Well, that's where things get interesting because there are some new technologies on the market that go around the digestive system completely, right? There are transdermal options. For example, there is some techniques that use sub-nanotopical glutathione, and they're showing a lot of promise. You kind of rub it on your skin, and it gets absorbed directly into the circulation through the capillaries. No gut or liver involved at all.
So, that's actually delivering it where it needs to go.
Well, more effectively than other methods, yes. And it's gentler, no needles for an IV, no digestive issues, and no gross taste. But it's not magic. It's kind of a smart workaround for people who've tried oral or IV and really haven't experienced good results.
All right. So, next, let's talk about these newer delivery options in more detail. What actually works, what's hype, and how to choose based on what your body really needs.
Okay, before we continue, quick pause here because you've been kind of going along, and chances are, if you've been following us, you don't just want information, right? You kind of want to implement it in your life. You want a system and a way to actually apply this stuff and make it part of your life.
That's exactly why we built the Next Paradigm VIP community. This isn't another Facebook group or a one size fits all program. It's for people who want real structure with actual human support behind it.
In this program, well, it's in this community, you get monthly coaching calls, right? So one-on-one coaching calls with a health coach, custom protocols based on what your body is going through and your goals, tools to track what's working and what's not working, and accountability that helps you stick with it even when life gets messy.
If you're inflamed, exhausted, or just stuck in a loop and you want a clear, personalized path forward, head to odinhealthlab.com and book a free discovery call.
That's ODIN healthlab.com. Okay, back to the episode. All right. So, if most glutathione products don't work the way they claim to, what does, right? So, let's walk through 4 options that actually have solid science and kind of real world results behind them.
And we're not talking hype or miracle pills here, just delivery methods that do what they say they'll do, right?
Exactly. There is no perfect way, no silver bullets, just better ways to get glutathione into your body in form that it can actually use it. Okay, so the first one we're going to talk about is liposomal. Like I said, liposomal is definitely better than taking a supplement because it's kind of wrapped in a fat bubble that protects it from the digestive system and allows it to pass through your gut wall into the bloodstream, right? Because that's what we're trying to do. And if it's well formulated and stored properly, it can be pretty effective.
So, what's the catch?
So, stability. Okay. A lot of liposomal products oxidize pretty fast, especially if they've been sitting on a shelf for too long or weren't refrigerated, right? And then there's also the taste, right? So it can taste quite gross. But if you're buying a fresh, cold ship brand, and you can kind of handle the taste, it's actually a solid option. Okay. So the second one is something that's called acetyl glutathione, right? So it's an oral form, but that's been chemically tweaked, right? Acetylated, right? To protect it from being broken down in your gut. Think of it as giving glutathione a raincoat that survives digestion.
And once it's in your system,
Well, your body basically strips off that acetyl group and releases active glutathione. It's not as fast as an IV or bioavailable as some topicals, but it's stable, shelf friendly, and way easier to take consistently.
So, a good option if you're looking for long term, low maintenance support?
Yeah, exactly. Think of slow and steady support, not a quick fix, right? So if it's not an emergency, this is a very good option. Okay, so number three would be IV glutathione again, right? So we mentioned this earlier. It delivers glutathione directly into your bloodstream, obviously bypassing digestive system completely. And if you're dealing with things like mold, Lyme, long COVID, or heavy metal detox, IVs can be a very, very good option.
But the downside is,
It's very short lived, right? So glutathione gets cleared from your blood within minutes, right? It's also quite expensive. And unless you're in a big city with, an integrative clinic nearby, it's not always accessible, right? So it's just the mechanics of this delivery system that are not as friendly. Plus, IVs don't automatically mean cellular uptake. You still need cofactors and transport support for it to get inside the cells.
so IVs are best for people with serious health conditions or doing targeted detox protocols, not your average listener.
Yes, exactly. It's a great tool, but it's not something most people should try kind of or rely on long term. Okay, so the last one, it's kind of the most interesting one to me at least. I learned about it like a couple of years ago. It's topical glutathione delivered through skin, right? So one example is sub-nano delivery system like Oral Wellness, right? So it's a company that developed this particular delivery system, and it's a lotion or a spray, and you apply it to the skin. You can put it on the wrist, on abdomen, and the glutathione absorbs directly into your bloodstream.
So, no gut, no needles, no nasty taste.
Yeah, exactly. It's non-invasive, fast, and well tolerated, right? Even by people with gut issues or absorption problems, right? And because it bypasses digestion and the liver, you don't lose potency along the way, right? That's the coolest part about it. So if people do have, chronic issues, like mold toxicity, chronic fatigue, or sensitive systems in general, that's a great option for them.
So, with all these options, how does someone pick the right one?
Okay, so let's kind of create a little cheat sheet. Okay, so new to glutathione or want kind of slower support, try with S-acetyl form, right? That's a great option. Like I said, it kind of builds up over time, and that's a great way to support your glutathione system. Need kind of rapid inflammation help or serious detox? You can absolutely do some IVs, right? They can be very helpful. Want high bioavailability without the hassle? Try topical applications, right? If you can handle it and it's good quality and fresh, liposomal can be amazing. So if you're dealing with chronic illness or mold, you might need to a combo, right? Maybe an IV once in a while and a topical, right? Something like that.
So, no one size fits all, just better tools for different jobs.
Yes, exactly. The mission here is to kind of rebuild your body's glutathione system over time. And because supplements can be helpful, but they are, they're just one piece of the puzzle. So now that you kind of know how important glutathione is, here's something most people, even practitioners, don't talk about, right? You don't just need enough glutathione, you need it in the right form.
What do you mean by form? Isn't glutathione just glutathione?
Not exactly. Okay. So glutathione exists in two states in your body, right? One is the active version. It's called GSH. That's the kind of reduced form, right? It's the one that actually does the work. It, puts out the fires, cleans up oxidative stress, keeps your cells safe. And then you also have GSSG. That's the oxidized form, right? So that's the used up version.
So, Basically, GSH is the full fire extinguisher and GSSG is the empty canister.
Yes, exactly. And every time your body uses glutathione to fight stress, it gets converted from GSH to GSSG. And your body has to kind of recycle it. It turns it back into the active form, or else you run out of protection, basically. If you can't recycle it well, you start accumulating GSSG, and that means more oxidative damage, more inflammation, and less cellular defense.
So it's not just about how much glutathione you have, it's whether your body can reuse it.
Exactly. And it's like having a fire extinguisher in the house, but but never refilling it after you use it. It's still sitting there, but it's kind of useless, right? And here's where it gets deeper. Chronic stress, it can be mental, physical, environmental, doesn't really matter, blocks your ability to recycle, right? So you see how it all connects, right? It shifts your system towards oxidation. That's why long term stress ages you, inflames you, and burns you out.
What does your body need to do the recycling?
Well, the main thing is NADPH. So, this is a molecule your cells use to convert GSSG back into GSH. Basically, it's your internal glutathione recharger.
Is that the same NAD people talk about with energy and aging?
Not exactly, but it's a close cousin of NAD+. It's part of the same energy and antioxidant system, right? And guess what helps you make NADPH? Healthy mitochondria, your energy factories. So if your mitochondria are damaged from toxins, mold, overtraining, poor diet, your ability to recycle glutathione is takes a hit. It becomes this downward spiral of poor recycling, more oxidative stress, more mitochondrial damage, even worse recycling.
So the redox cycle is the reset button for your whole antioxidant system.
You got it, yes. It keeps things moving. It prevents your body from getting stuck in an inflammatory rut. And the better your redox cycle is working, the more resilient you are physically, mentally, and even emotionally.
All right, so we've got the big picture now. Next, let's look at the everyday things that drain glutathione the fastest so you know what to avoid if you want to keep that fire extinguisher full.
Okay, so we now know that glutathione is critical, but here is the next big question. So, why are so many people low in it? The short answer? Well, modern life is basically designed to burn through it.
Yeah, it sounds like you can't just take care of glutathione once. You've got to constantly protect it.
Yeah, your body uses glutathione all the time. It's like your internal cleanup crew. If that crew is working overtime, you're not giving it a backup, it kind of gets wiped out, right? So let's kind of go through main things that drain it pretty quickly, right? So number one, and that's gonna shock a lot of people, is Tylenol, right? Yeah, it's over the counter, and it's very benign in most people's view, but it burns through glutathione like crazy, especially in the liver.
So if you're taking it regularly for pain or sleep, that's a problem.
Huge problem. Even low doses taken consistently can deplete glutathione stores. And if you already have liver issues, or like things like mold exposure or low antioxidant status, it's like pouring gasoline on fire. Okay. So the next is kind of the usual suspects of bad lifestyle, right? So smoking, alcohol, and air pollution. They all create massive amount of oxidative stress, inflammation essentially. And every puff, every drink, every breath of toxic air, your body uses glutathione to clean up the damage.
So if you live in a big city, you're burning through it even if you're healthy.
Yep, exactly. Just, existing in a polluted environment raises your glutathione needs. So another thing that's very often missed is mold exposure, right? So we don't really talk about mold because it's kind of, we know it's there, but it's not affecting us unless we're sick. But if you get mold in your home, in your office, or even in your car, you're breathing biotoxins that body struggles to detox, right? It's a toxic burden. And glutathione is your main line of defense. So if you've been in a water damaged building, or if you feel chronically tired, foggy, or inflamed, there's a good chance that your glutathione has been getting shredded for months or even years.
That's a hidden stressor for a lot of people, especially renters.
For sure. And another one, stress, right? Not I had a bad day type of stress, but constant background noise type of stress, right? When cortisol stays elevated from work pressure, relationship tensions, sleep, debt, whatever it might be, it shifts your body into a catabolic state. That means you breaking down, right? Your body is eating itself, including depletion of nutrients like glycine, which is one of the building blocks of glutathione.
So stress burns through the materials your body needs to make glutathione.
Yeah, exactly. Plus, stress increases oxidative damage, right? Which increases demand for glutathione while lowering your ability to supply it, right? It's kind of like a double whammy, right? And you know what? Another one that's kind of crazy that I don't know why people don't think about it is poor sleep, right? People take it kind of for granted. Oh, I can, I'm not getting enough sleep. I know it, but I'm not going to do anything about it. But you regenerate and recycle glutathione while you sleep. Did you know that? If you are getting less than 7 hours or your sleep quality is garbage, you are probably not refilling the tank of glutathione.
So it's not just about feeling rested. Your detox system literally runs on sleep.
Yep. No deep sleep, poor recovery, oxidative stress builds up fast, and that's it. So, this is another example of what that people don't think about at all because it's viewed in society as positive, right? Is doing things like overtraining or excessive fasting, right? So like a lot of the fitness crowd kind of loves working out hard, right? Like really pushing yourself. And it really is viewed as positive in the society. But when you push your body hard, whether it's an intense workout, long fast, cold exposure without recovery, you generate more free radicals, period. It's biology. It's not necessarily bad, but unless you're doing it daily without antioxidant support, your mitochondria will take a hit. It will get tired, and your glutathione system will absolutely get overwhelmed.
So even healthy habits can turn unhealthy when they're overdone.
You got it. It's all about balance, right? It's not about never fasting or never training. It's kind of about like achieving recovery and balance. Like that's the most important thing. And then finally, your diet matters big time. If you're not getting enough protein, you're not getting enough raw materials for glutathione, you know, like low sulfur foods like garlic, onions, eggs, broccoli, and you will tank your production of glutathione, period. And if you're low in these nutrients, you know, things like selenium, magnesium, B vitamins, your glutathione recycling slows down as well.
So this isn't just about taking a supplement, it's about supporting the system from all angles.
You got it, yes. Supplements can help, they can be very helpful, but if your lifestyle is chewing through glutathione faster than you can replace it, you're still going to lose that fight.
All right. So next we're going to talk about genetics because for some people, the glutathione system isn't just depleted, it's genetically underbuilt from the start.
Yeah, and you know what? Like Here's where things can get personal because even if you're doing everything right, like let's say you're eating well, let's say you're sleeping enough, avoiding toxins, there's some people who will still struggle to keep their glutathione levels up. And the biggest reason is genetics, you're right.
So you can actually be born with a weaker glutathione system.
Yeah, there are genes specifically called GST genes that control how well your body uses and recycles glutathione, right? That that stands for glutathionase transferase. It's a group of enzymes that help your liver detox harmful compounds.
Okay, and what happens if those genes aren't working right?
Well, some people have what's called null genotype, meaning genes are deleted or non-functional. So there's no backup, no activity. The most common ones are GST-M1, GST-T1, and GST-P1. If you got a deletion in one or more of these, your ability to clear toxins and recycle glutathione drops a lot.
How would someone know if that's them? Is this something you test for?
Well, you need to do some genetic testing. Yeah. If you got one of these, to see if you got one of these deletions. But honestly, you don't need to test to figure this out. If you're someone who kind of gets sensitive to smells or chemicals, struggles with detox protocols, reacts to mold or medications, has chronic fatigue, skin flare ups, brain fog, that's often a sign that your detox pathways are underpowered. And since glutathione is part of the reason, this is a clue.
So basically, if detox is always rough for you, your body might not be recycling glutathione like it should.
Yeah, exactly. And if that's you, it means you need more targeted support. More of the building blocks, more of the cofactors, probably more ongoing support, not just quick fixes.
So it's not about fear or being broken. It's just knowing what your system needs to stay resilient.
Yeah, the good news is that even if you got one of these genetic weaknesses, there are workarounds, right? You just have to be a little bit more proactive, with food, supplements, lifestyle. Well, okay. So if you've been listening to this and kind of, going like, okay, it sounds like me, I'm tired, inflamed, sensitive to everything. How do I actually check if glutathione is an issue?
Can you just go to your doctor and ask for a glutathione test?
Well, in most conventional settings, probably not, right? Mainstream doctors don't usually run glutathione levels. And when they do, it's usually a total level, not active versus used up form, which is what really matters. But in functional medicine world, there are some better tools. Let's look at some of them. Okay, so first there is organic acid test or OAT test. This is a urine test that looks at your metabolic function, nutrient status, gut health, and it includes a marker called glutamate.
And that tells you about glutathione.
Yeah. So if your pyroglutamate is high, it means your body is trying to make more glutathione but running out of resources. Kind of like revving the engine without enough fuel. It's not a direct glutathione reading, but it gives you a strong clue that your system is under pressure. Next would be, you know, to test glutathione levels in your blood, either red blood cells or whole blood. It gives you a snapshot of how much is circulating, right? But again, what matters is how much of it is active.
Which brings us to
Exactly. So the gold standard, if you really want to know how your antioxidant system is holding up, is to look at ratio of reduced ESH, that's the active form of glutathione, remember, to oxidized, that GSSG glutathione, the used up form.
so a low ratio means what? That your fire extinguisher is empty?
Yes, exactly. It means that your body is either burning through glutathione faster than it can keep up or struggling to recycle it properly. And that's huge red flag for inflammation, oxidative stress and chronic illness.
What about people who can't access these tests? Are there symptoms to watch for?
Absolutely, yeah. So if you can often kind of spot glutathione deficiency by how you feel, right? So and basically how your body responds to stress. So big signs are, of course, fatigue, especially the kind that doesn't get better with rest, right? Brain fog or poor focus is another one, definitely. Frequent illness, like, you catching cold every month, right? Like definitely that's a red flag. Poor detox tolerance. So if you feel worse when you're taking supplements or doing sauna, fasting, or mold binders, that could be a red flag. And chemical sensitivity, so perfumes, cleaning products, exhaust fumes, if they make you feel awful, it's definitely a sign.
That's a big one. People often don't realize their reactions are signs their detox system is overloaded.
Exactly. If you check kind of several of these boxes, chances are that your glutathione system is underpowered at the least, and it needs serious support.
And we're about to get into how to do that step by step.
Okay, so now we're kind of getting closer to what everybody has been waiting for. How do you actually fix low glutathione? What can you do to bring the levels up, get your energy back, and finally stop chasing symptoms?
And just to be clear, we're not just talking about popping one supplement and hoping for the best, right?
Exactly. It's not about, having this magic pill. It's kind of a stack, right? So what I mean by stack, it's a system. It's built around your body's kind of and the raw materials it needs, supporting the pathways that use them and reducing the stuff that burns through it all pretty quickly. Okay, so let's start with some categories, right? So we definitely need precursors, right? So building blocks that lead to forming of glutathione, cofactors, so nutrients that make it all work, and of course lifestyle. At the end of the day, the conditions your body needs to do the job are very important. You can't build a house without bricks, right? So, and the same thing goes for glutathione, right? So your body needs few key ingredients, and I bet most people are low in at least one of them, right? So let's start with NAC first. So this is a heavy hitter because NAC gives your body cysteine, the rate limiting kind of amino acid for making glutathione. It's been used for decades to protect liver, you know, treat Tylenol overdoses or support detox in general, right? You kind of need to take between 600 to 1800 milligrams daily, and depending on your need, right? So if the more support you need, you would take a higher dose. If you are inflamed, recovering from mold, or sick, you will definitely need more. Next one is glycine, right? So hugely underrated. Glycine is a calming kind of nutrient for your nervous system and essential for making glutathione. Most people are chronically low due to low collagen intake. Best ways to get it is glycine powder or collagen peptides, right? 3 to 5 grams per day should do. Again, higher dose if you need extra support. Selenium. So, this is a trace mineral that helps your body kind of recycle glutathione by activating an enzyme called glutathione peroxidase. You don't need a ton, 100 to 200 micrograms per day is usually enough. And, if you're eating Brazil nuts, they're a good source. But, you know, go easy. Don't, too much selenium can backfire. Glutamine. So, not always essential, but helpful if under stress or rebuilding gut health, right? It supports overall protein synthesis and immune function. Start with like 5 grams daily if needed, especially in recovery phases. think of these are kind of like nuts and bolts of the ingredients that you need to assemble glutathione, right? So magnesium is another one. You burn through magnesium like crazy under stress, and it's needed for detox enzyme activation, right? Most people are deficient in magnesium, so taking it is definitely a good idea. And you can start with magnesium glycinate or malate and do 300 to 500 milligrams per day. Another essential thing is B complex vitamins. These are huge for glutathione recycling, especially B2, B6, B12, folate, right? So not folic acid, but look for methylfolate or folinic acid. These support methylation and energy production in general, both of which are tied to the redox cycle and GSH regeneration. And you really need to look for methylated B complex, right? Especially if you got fatigue, MTHFR issues. So that's like a gene that affects methylation, poor detox capacity, right? Because you don't necessarily know what methylation issues you have, methylated B complex is a good best practice because it just uses B vitamins in bioavailable form that your body can use. So it's a good best practice to just have those. And supplements can help, but if your lifestyle is chewing through glutathione faster than you can replace it, you're basically on the treadmill, right? Doing the same thing over and over again. So here is some kind of lifestyle modification things that can help if you are in crisis, right? So anti-inflammatory diet would be the first one. And if you kind of like simplify it, you can focus on whole foods, quality protein, colorful plants, right? Load up with sulfur-rich foods like, onions, garlic, eggs, broccoli, cauliflower. Get rid of all processed junk, no industrial oils, and anything that triggers your immune system. And that should do it, and like without keeping it super super complicated. And the next one is deep sleep and circadian alignment, right? So this one is huge because this is where your body repairs and recycles glutathione, right? So starting with things like no blue light at midnight or before going to sleep, probably like 2 to 3 hours before going to sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 hours of sleep. Wake and sleep with the sun if possible, right? Even 1 week of good sleep can make your detox system work way, way better. And then you can use some biohacking techniques like sauna and red light therapy, right? Infrared saunas stimulate heat shock proteins, which, upregulate glutathione production. Red light therapy, specifically, 660 to 850 nanometer bands, help reduce oxidative stress at the mitochondrial level. You can start slow with 2-3 sessions per week and to see if it moves the needle, right? And in general stress regulation, right? Even things like breath work, chronic stress depletes glycine, magnesium, and basically your ability to recover. So even taking simple 5 minutes kind of breath work session like box breathing or something, cold exposure, even quiet time outdoors can shift your nervous system back into the repair mode, which is what you want.
So it's not about just taking NAC or trying a fancy cream. It's about rebuilding the whole system.
Yeah, you got it. And you don't fix glutathione with a single pill, right? You fix it by giving your body the right inputs, the materials, the cofactors, and the condition it needs to do the job itself.
And when you get us dialed in, what changes?
Well, everything really. Your energy will improve, your brain fog will lift, you get sick less, detox reactions calm down, inflammation cools off. It's not instant, but when you support your antioxidant system at its root, the results compound fast. Okay, so today we broke down why glutathione is one of the most important molecules in your body. We covered what it does, from cleaning up inflammation to neutralizing toxins to protecting your brain, your mitochondria, your energy levels in general. We looked at what burns through it, things like Tylenol, alcohol, mold, stress, sleep deprivation, and even overtraining, doing too much of a good thing. And we gave you a clear roadmap to rebuild it, not with a simple just magic pill, but by stacking the right building blocks, cofactors, and daily habits that your body actually needs.
And that's the key. This is a system, not a supplement. If you're trying to fix inflammation or fatigue with one product and getting nowhere, it's probably because your foundation's missing. This is one of the best places to start if you're inflamed, exhausted, or just stuck.
And if you want to go deeper to build kind of like a real plan that fits your body, your life, your goals, we definitely got something for you.
Inside the Next Paradigm VIP community, you get a structured system built around real human support, including monthly coaching calls, custom health protocols, tracking tools, and the accountability you need to actually follow through.
So if you're done guessing and you're ready for a clear, personalized path forward, head to odinhealthlab.com and book your free discovery call. That's ODIN healthlab.com.
All right, I think we've covered quite a bit. Thanks so much for diving into all things glutathione with me. It was a lot of fun.
Thanks, guys, and we'll see you next time on the Next Paradigm by Odin Labs.